Hey everybody, this is Doa, and this is Game 2 of LastPlayerStanding.com's Open Tournament number 2 Finals. We have got BbongBboongprime spawning as our Blue Zerg player on the left side of, I almost forgot right and left for a second, on the left side of GSL dual site, and on the right side it is our Red Protoss player, FXOinori. Ignore the IDs, that's who these guys actually are. They just had to use these kind of wonky accounts for their NA tournaments. This of course was played on the NA server, so that's why. So if you're wondering about lag or anything like that, both of these guys I guess would be basically dealing with the same lag right now. Now last game we saw FXOinori just do a really good job of keeping BbongBboongprime out of his base, so that when the attack finally came, which was one of those big 6-gate pushes that we see a lot of players like Choya do especially, who is also a teammate of FXOinori, you know, we saw BbongBboongprime basically just die to it because he wasn't prepared. He didn't have, he only had 2 spine crawlers out, he only had Zerglings, he was able to make banelings at the end, but it just was too little too late, and FXOinori beat him rather easily. We'll have to see if things will be a little bit different here. This is of course a best of 5. So, FXOinori will get a nice lead here if he can win the second game. And FXOinori, interestingly enough, getting gas before anything else. What in the world? Putting 3 guys in gas relatively early. So gas before gateway. Interesting. You don't very often see that in PvZ. I wonder what he has planned. It looks like a speedling expand planned by BbongBboongprime.we, so that's a little bit more normal. That's not odd at all. But a gas first for our Protoss player. I'm really interested to see what happens, especially to see if he puts down a second gas relatively quick as well. Might see something like that. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, second gas pretty early. I mean, that's before 20. You know what I say? I always say if you see that second gas for Protoss before 20 supply, there's a pretty good chance it's going to mean DTs. Of course, I haven't seen these games yet, so I'm going to feel kind of silly if I'm wrong, but if I'm right, I'm going to feel awesome. Could be Stargate Tech. Most likely that's one of the two things. It's either Stargate Tech or DTs, but you know, that's always the thing. If the gas comes before 20, a lot of times it's DTs. You know, here's the pylon kind of out of the way here. Whatever he wants to put there, he doesn't want it to be seen just by some Zerglings running up the ramp. And the first Zelda is going to ensure that the Zerglings aren't going to be able to do that. Probe's going to do a little bit of scouting. He's going to see the hatchery come up, and he knows from the timing that there was probably a speedling expand. Speed about halfway done right now. And so we'll have to wait and see. Sentry on the way here too. Alright, yep, there's the Twilight Council, and I would bet you anything, I would bet you huge amounts of esports dollars that we are going to see a Dark Shrine come up very, very soon after we see another couple gateways. But we'll have to wait and see. So the question is, will BbongBboongprime kind of realize this? How much foresight will he have in this? He wasn't really able to scout at all. In fact, let's take a look at what he's scouted so far. He's seen nothing, actually. He has no idea what FXOinori is doing. And when you have no idea what your opponent is doing, all you can do is just kind of pray safe and hope for the best. Now, we've been seeing a lot of Zerg players get that early Evo chamber against Protoss, so hopefully BbongBboongprime will do that as well, because look at this. I told you guys, I told you there's a Dark Shrine. If you see the second gas before 20, almost always a Dark Shrine. Second hatchery just finishing up right now for BbongBboongprime, but will we see the Evo chamber? He needs an Evo chamber unless he decides to go for a very, very fast lair. I mean, if he doesn't have that, he's basically just dead. If he doesn't have a lair, he doesn't have an Evo chamber, then he doesn't have any sort of detection at all. So, and there we go. There's the Evo chamber. So he heard my pleas for a longer game, and he did get that fast Evo chamber just to be on the safe side. We'll probably see him put up a spore crawler or two. You know, and a lot of Zerg players are doing this. I mean, if you really don't know what your opponent is doing, it's silly. It's absolutely silly not to put up an Evo chamber. Too risky otherwise. You will see the expand. Of course, this is not any sort of DT all-in. It is a DT rush, but it's also a DT expand. Important to kind of note the difference in that. It's not like he's deciding to just try to go all-in and kill him right away with Dark Templar. It's just a nice way to put pressure on your Zerg opponent. It kind of makes it so you can force them what buildings they make. and then because you basically know what they're making, you can use that to your advantage later on. So it's actually a really good opening in PvZ, and we see it quite often. So what do we have here? First DT on the way. Pretty quick third for BbongBboongprime. And how much damage is this Dark Templar going to be able to do? Are there any Spore Crawlers up yet? There are actually no Spore Crawlers up yet. This one just starting right now. And look at that, he's trying to use the drones to protect the Spore Crawler. Nice job with that. DT trying to cut his way through the drones to get to the Spore Crawler. Trying to use that hold position command to keep the DT from getting in there, and I think it's going to actually work. Overlord's trying to go over there as well, so he can't click on it, and you know, there he goes. Spore Crawler does finish. Really, really nice job by BbongBboongprime, keeping the DT from getting in there. But look at this, more DTs at the natural, taking out the queens. Not enough Zerglings to take those DTs out, but Zerglings combined with drones are plenty. So all in all, nice handling of this by BbongBboongprime, although it looks like he might actually lose this Evo Chamber. Yeah, the Spore Crawler can't quite see far enough. It's like right on the edge of the vision. He's going to try to reburrow it so that he can see it. I think this will barely give it to him, but he is going to have to remake that Evo Chamber anyway. Did you notice there's a huge, like, skeleton in the Evo Chamber? Crazy or what? Watch for that next time. Next time you see an Evo Chamber die, there's like a big, like, animal skeleton. It's the weirdest thing. Don't understand it myself. Third base finished here. So how safe really is BbongBboongprime right now? Well, the answer is not very. I mean, he's got these DTs running all over the base. Inori is expanding again. So BbongBboongprime, while he kept himself from taking a huge amount of damage, still took some damage. Luckily for him, FXOinori does not know about this third base quite yet. Looks like the DT just kind of still hanging outside the base. It can at least do some good scouting, so that will be helpful. But yeah, there's like actually like this is backbone. This is like a spine here. Oh, DT getting a little bit overzealous there. But yeah, there's a spine here and like an animal head in here. It's kind of weird, but it's cool. And the extractor is going to die. This is just the strength of this DT expand, is you can just do all this damage to your opponent. He does get the extractor, but he does lose that DT as well. So not a bad amount of harassment just for 3 DTs. It's a big investment, but it did allow FXOinori to start this third fairly securely. The Speedling counterattack from BbongBboongprime is going to try to be the retribution for that. He's going to see if he can do some damage immediately going up to the third. He knows that that's what most players would like to use that DT expand to do, is take a quicker third. So he's going to try to do as much damage with these links as possible, forcing a cancel on a pylon. So at least doing a little bit. Oh, nice force fields there, walling in some of the Zerglings, but many of them do escape as well. Cannons do finish too. So overall, I mean, both of these guys playing pretty well. I mean, FXOinori using the DT opening as best as you possibly can, and BbongBboongprime really responding as best as he could in the situation and taking, you know, much less damage. I mean, if we look at the workers killed count, it's only 13 drones killed, which is not a huge amount. Considering right now it's 70 to 58 drones. I mean, you can drone up quite a bit if your opponent does the DT expand, because there's generally not a lot of units aside from the DTs. So if you can handle the DTs, you can make a ton of drones then after that. So it's okay to use a couple of them. Of course, that TD is not going to be able to move in any time soon with the Spine Crawler and the Spore Crawler there. Another Speedling run by being attempted by BbongBboongprime, and the wall in is very, very good for FXOinori right now. Oh, but he actually does get past some of the Lings. Gets a nice surround on the Zealot there, and these Zerglings may actually be able to cause a decent amount of damage here. Surrounding some of the probes, trying to do some damage with those. And actually, FXOinori might lose a good amount of probes in this attack here. We'll have to wait and see here. Oh, but the big story is that he might get this Templar Archives if he gets that. That is going to be huge. Trying to Chrono Boost out Storm right now. And I don't think he's going to get it, though. He did get the Dark Shrine, though. That's going to end a little bit of annoyance for him. And he's going to go after the Templar Archives if he gets that. That'll be huge. Nice force fields preventing the Zerglings from getting in there. BbongBboongprime trying to do as much damage as possible. And another Zergling attack at the third base. FXOinori taking some decent damage from this. Overall losing again, you know, a lot of probes. Inori did manage to save his Templar Archives, but he's going to need to send some DTs in here to clean this up. More Speedlings coming in. BbongBboongprime using a whole lot of resources on these Speedlings right now. Oh, nice storms on the Lings. That's going to take them all out immediately. So BbongBboongprime doing a bit of damage, but, you know, again, both of these guys really handling things well under stress. Let's take a look at the workers killed count. 14 to 13, so really in all of that, BbongBboongprime only killed one more worker than FXOinori has killed all game. So overall, both of these guys performing pretty well, I'd say. Blink just finishing up right now for FXOinori, and these Ling attacks by BbongBboongprime are starting to be a little bit suspect. I mean, I think he's pushing this a little bit too far right now. Might be able to get in and do a little bit of damage, but, you know, one storm is going to absolutely annihilate all these Zerglings. He is going to get the DT, though. There is an Overseer kind of hidden in the bushes. Of course, Inori can't see it, but it's allowing his DTs to be spotted. BbongBboongprime really going crazy with these Speedling attacks right now. And I don't know really how much damage these are going to do. This may not be the best idea by BbongBboongprime to kind of keep this up. Taking his 4th base at the moment. Checking for a 3rd that Inori might have. But he's in danger of losing a lot of these Lings. Oh, turning him into Banelings right away before the army gets there. He's going to need to cancel all that. Yep. And now FXOinori might have his sights set on this 3rd base of BbongBboongprime, and there's not a whole lot that BbongBboongprime can do against this. There's still 2 sentries out, so there's going to be force fields to prevent the Banelings from getting in there. He's also got Archons and Storm to handle the Zerglings. And look at this, FXOinori is actually going to do quite well against this. Here come the Zerglings at the 3rd base again, though. A lot of Stalkers being warped in with Blink. He can micro fairly well against this. He's going to need to be careful. He needs a little bit more than these Stalkers, I believe. This base was taken out by FXOinori. Now he can pull back, do some damage here. Banelings pretty much getting wasted on the Archons. A couple of them do connect with his ults, but that's about it. And Roach is killing off those Stalkers, but the army for FXOinori is back, so he's going to be just fine. And look at this, DT is coming in here, killing a decent amount of drones. Like this, using the drones to prevent the DT from getting to the Queen. Nice little move there. Meantime, still some Zerg pressure on the 3rd base of FXOinori. Is trying to do as much damage as he possibly can. Storm going down the Roaches. Storm is not terribly effective on Roaches, but, you know, it's better than nothing, so might as well. It does force BbongBboongprime to pull back. Inori is about 40 food down right now, but I really feel like BbongBboongprime is pushing this a little bit too far. I feel like he needs to kind of pull back, regroup a little bit, play a little bit more defensive for the time being. It's tough to, though. I mean, it's really tough to, because at this point your opponent could take a 4th. And if you get, you know, 4 base versus 4 base TVP, yeah, and, you know, we can also see why BbongBboong is getting desperate, because he is losing bases still to these DTs. And here comes the attack again. Good amount of Roaches and Hydras out on the field right now for BbongBboongprime, so Inori will need to pull back. Does do a little bit of damage with the Storm there. Good amount of damage with the Storm. Tons of damage now. Storms don't stack, but, you know, when one runs out, the other one immediately starts doing damage. Burrow has been researched, though, so the Roaches will be able to regenerate pretty quick. Force Field trying to save those Templars. Nice job there. Did he actually rebuild that Dark Shrine? Those may have been DTs from before. Yeah, it doesn't look like he rebuilt the Dark Shrine, so just had a couple left over here and there. And blinking ahead to take out some of the Roaches, but no Observer to be seen on the map. Well, it's hard to see him anyway because they're invisible, but you know what I mean. No Observer in this area right now. He's making his first one right here. That's going to let him see those Burrow units. Good foresight by Inori to get that Robo Bay down just in case. And the Roaches burrowed again. A couple Hydras. And you can see he's got the Observer with him right now, so the burrowed shenanigans are going to be basically over. Trying to take a 4th base here. Move down his side of the map. Now, BbongBboongprime does have a bigger army right now, 0-1. And is he going to try to do like some sort of mass drop? It's possible. 2 attacks to those Stalkers as well. I think the Overlords are just going to make it tough for him not to click on. And he can fly the Overlords over the Stalkers too and make it hard to click on the Stalkers to blink them at the same time. A lot of things you can do with the Overlords like that, a lot of interesting little tactics. And the other thing too is that Inori might think that those Overlords are loaded with Banelings, as Baneling drops are pretty popular in this matchup right now as well. Trying to scare him, but he's not going to be scared. He knows that there's no Banelings in those Overlords. And look at that. trying to conceal his numbers, but I think it's just going to be too much for BbongBboongprime to handle. Stalker's doing really well as far as Micro does. The Archon's doing damage as well. Now it's just Hydras versus lots of Blink Stalkers, and we all know how that goes. We can see right there. Roaches and Hydras coming in to try to do a bit of a counterattack at the third base, but it's not going to be enough with these Roaches, or with these Stalkers morphing in here, or warping in. You're going to be able to chase them away pretty quickly. Some Zealots also keeping an eye on the third base. And the fourth is done for FXOinori. All he needs to do now is transfer some probes down there, and he's got another mining base. So Inori, despite being down on supply, is starting to look pretty good in this game overall. Here we go again, another fight between Roaches and Hydras, and it looks like BbongBboongprime does need to pull back. Just trying to use the Overlords as a scare tactic, and it does work to a certain extent. You know, it looks like FXOinori is going to pull back a little bit. Doesn't want to get dropped on as far as the Banelings go. Wants to be safe, of course. And the question is, will FXOinori have enough to kind of finish the game at this point? He's starting to go into Colossi, which is going to be pretty helpful. And he's got to intercept this force of Roaches. Nice job putting 4 cannons down there, stalling things until his army gets there. That does help quite a bit. And here comes the big Roach on Stalker battle, and the Blink Stalkers doing so well. Look at the health on those Stalkers. Every time one starts to get injured, he does blink it back. Nice Micro there. The Colossi having to be Micro back as well. Storm going down, softening up a lot of these Roaches, and yeah, FXOinori just is going to crush this attack from BbongBboongprime.we. And BbongBboongprime suddenly falling behind in the supply for the first time this game. At the same time, Zealots being warped in, going after this fourth base, and as soon as the units for as soon as the units for Inori rather catch up here, I think this base is going to be in serious trouble. In fact, we may be seeing a GG from BbongBboongprime fairly soon, I think. We're getting to the point where FXOinori's army is getting to the point of being a bit unstoppable. Still though, Inori playing very safely, pulling those Stalkers back rather than just engaging that army. Wants to make sure he waits until he has as many units as possible. Wants that Colossi as well, of course. Oop. Overlords having the creeps scared out of them. Long distance mining from the gold. I mean, BbongBboongprime kind of needs to do that right now. His income is really dipping very low. I mean, he only has this base mining at this point. This one's basically mined out. But no fooling Inori right now. He's got an observer following this army, and there's really not a lot that BbongBboong can do about it. Blinking ahead to take out some observers, starting to really severely supply block. BbongBboongprime is going to go for one last attack here at the third. Going to try to make something happen, but if this attack fails, I think we're going to probably see a GG fairly soon from our Zerg player. Looks like FXOinori's got this one in the bag. This is a big Zerg attack, of course. He's going to be able to take out the Nexus. And, you know, actually, Inori just kind of sitting in the middle of the map. He's just kind of letting it happen. Why? Why is he just kind of letting it happen? I don't understand. Alright, there he's going to move in now. Wanted to maybe catch him at a better angle, possibly. But either way, once this army is dead, it's going to be so hard for BbongBboongprime to catch up, especially being supply blocked like he is for so long. Yeah, just warping in a couple units to take this out. 20 supply lead right now for FXOinori. And, you know, he could basically just go and try to start killing the natural right now. He needs to worry about a couple things here and there. Zealot just standing, killing drones as they walk by, and that is enough for BbongBboongprime. GG, and FXOinori takes game 2 and goes up to a 2-0 lead in this best of 5. Let's get into game 3.